Now I would like to introduce you to my grandson, Thomas.
Hello.
He is a very fun grandson and very kind. And I want to just have him tell you his story. When he was a senior in high school and looking forward to all the things that seniors get to do. What were some of the things you were looking forward to?
There was senior prom, but then there was also just like hanging out with your friends senior year. That's always just something fun to do, like going to classes. It sounds weird, but like going to classes is just fun. But also like senior outing, you know, different senior like activities and field trips that you go on with your class. So I was unable to go to all of those. So.
Did you participate in any sports as a senior?
I played rugby senior year in the spring of my senior year, but that kind of had to get cut short because of all these things happen.
So, and then something happened. Thomas has had a condition since you were 4 years old.
Yep.
What is that condition called?
It's called ulcerative colitis.
And that's where your stomach is very, very vulnerable to having stomach aches, and you have to take good care of yourself and all of these things. But sometimes in the course of the things that we experience and the conditions that we have, nature takes a turn that you don't expect. And that happened for Thomas. And I want you to tell them a little bit about what happened.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll start. It was the summer before my senior year, like towards the end. I was working and I was totally healthy, but then I noticed some problems started to come up with my ulcerative colitis and my disease. I won't go into the details, but I just started to notice some things that weren't right. But I wasn't that sick, so I just told my doctor. We were on it pretty quickly, and it didn't really affect me that much. But as time went on, it slowly and steadily got worse. And then eventually we had to go and get some big, like just small procedures to like make sure things were okay and things like that. And we got on some different medication because I guess my medication that was working for about 4 years just stopped working. So we got on some different bacterial medications to help calm things down, and it seemed to work for a little bit, but nothing ever solved the problem. So pretty much my entire senior year I had health problems. And then probably it was during rugby season, things were just getting steadily worse, and I was just like, I can't just keep playing rugby and have all these hard health problems. So I told my coach, like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this anymore. So he was sorry to hear that, but then he said, oh, can you come to like the senior day, like the senior game for rugby? And that was that weekend. So I was like, yeah, I'll go just to, just show up. I won't play or anything like that. But then I ended up going to the hospital because I got some sort of sickness, some like small, it wasn't actually what I had. It was like some virus or something like that, because I was super, super, super sick, like throwing up and just felt horrible. So I was at the hospital for the weekend, then stayed home from school for a week, and then finally felt good enough to go that Monday. Went, and I felt okay, but then I got home wiped out completely, so I didn't go back. And then the next day was a senior outing day, and that was the day like I was looking forward to. My friends were hoping I could go, so I got up, got ready, and I was just so wiped out from getting up and showering and like getting dressed that I laid on the couch and like I couldn't get up because I was just so tired from just getting up and showering and getting dressed. So it was hard, but then I went to the hospital and I was there for the next 2 weeks, just super sick, them trying different medications, but nothing worked. And then I ended up getting major surgery to remove my colon, and then I ended up missing the end of my senior year. So I missed senior prom. I missed a lot of the senior activities that happened during school, so it was really hard. Definitely the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But
yeah, so here was something, just expecting a normal senior year that just went completely different and had some very, very difficult things. What were some of your thoughts? What were some of your anxious thoughts and moments?
I think the thing that was scariest was the thought of surgery, because I knew the different complications or things that could happen, but I also knew that what that would mean for me, just the type of surgery that it was, and like what would happen to my body. So that scared me a lot, and I was also just sad to like miss out on like senior prom and going and hanging out with friends. Like all my friends were having so much fun, and I was just, in the hospital super sick. So it was hard, and I definitely, I wasn't happy that it happened, but yeah, it was just very, very difficult.
And I think one of the hardest parts of this, they were facing as a family, and as an extended family, we were very concerned as well, is it time to have that that kind of surgery where you take out your colon. About how long is your colon?
It's, I think, about 3 feet long, around there.
So 3 feet long, and it involved, they ended up having that surgery, and it ended up being very painful. What I want you to share is, what were some of the thoughts that you had when you were going through this very, very difficult time? What were some of your worries, and how did you manage?
I think I was just worried about, like, would everything turn out okay? Because, you know, all the surgery and all the sickness is just like, will I be okay? Like, you know, it's really, really hard in those tough moments, like, just to think, like, is it ever gonna get better? Like, times where I was just so sick and, like, just in the hospital, like, because in the hospital it's not that fun, you know, you get really, really bored, or it's just not a fun place when you're sick at all. So it was tough to think, is this ever gonna get better? But I did find that it definitely would, because as bad as things ever are, something changes, and for the most part it will always get better. And that was something that I really took into mind a lot. But another thing was just looking at, like, the small different things that were like, oh, I'm really, really grateful that I can be at a hospital.
Yeah.
And, you know, have this care. Like, if I was in a different country or a different part of the world, I probably wouldn't have even survived, because
Or a time in history
Exactly.
where we didn't have the things that
yeah,
we have
like, it's
now.
a remarkable the type of surgery that I had and what they were able to do. Like, I studied it, and then what they told me, I'm like, how would anyone figure this out? Like, how many people before me had to fail, you know, had what I had and weren't able to get better, but they learned, you know. So I'm grateful for, like, the doctors, and just recognizing that, like, the small things, like, you know, the doctors are, like, having my family, or sometimes my friends would come visit, and just being like, oh, that was so nice and thoughtful. You know, just focusing on, like, just even one thing, even though everything else might seem wrong or hard, just focusing on something good can really make the difference.
So I think that's one of the keys. He would find, as he was describing this situation to me, he would share how he would be in the hospital and things would be tough, and just being able to focus on something that went well that day, something to look forward to, and to know that this won't be the same forever. I will get feeling better. These things can go forward. We can go forward and have a more normal feeling. So I appreciate that. He's been an inspiration, I want you to know, to our entire family, to be able to go through something so hard and be so courageous in it. Now that you're looking back on that experience, what do you think you learned from it?
I think I learned just to be strong, even though it can be so, so hard, just to have that positive outlook and just know, like, what you really cling to. Like, for me, it was my faith, you know, just, like, being able to pray or things like that. It really does help for me. So focusing on things that help for you to boost your own spirits or keep you, you know, in a positive state of mind, that's the best thing you can do.
And I think when we're anxious, we sometimes have two choices. We can be really hard on the people around us, thinking this is not fair. I mean, he was cheated out of his senior year, as we have seniors all throughout the state cheated out of some of the things that they've looked forward to their entire life. Audrey, that you just met, she was looking forward to her wedding, which we had on April 8th. Instead of having the big celebration that we had planned, we had around 20 people there. Thomas was able to be there. It didn't happen the way she wanted, but looking back, these things have been incredibly sweet. And so I'm going to share with you those 5 things that people do that Audrey and Thomas did that helped them get through tough situations these weren't quick situations.
Definitely not.
For Audrey, it was almost a couple of years. And for you, when you first got sick,
It was a long time, almost a whole year.
Almost a whole year.
Yeah.
So, and then the things that they yet have to look forward to. So anyway, thank you, Thomas, for
Thank you.
sharing that with us.